Hello everyone in the Fi Network. This is the fourth episode from our series of 5 podcast talks, and today we will shine brighter lights over accelerators and investment networks that are adding value to fintechs. In this episode, we have two specialists in the field that are also ambassadors of the FINE project. Mircea Vadan, partner at Activize, an accelerator company from Romania, and Chantal Corbet, business mentor for startups and SMEs. And as a moderator, we have today Angele Giuliano, Managing Director at AcrossLimits, one of the FINE consortium partners.
Thank you so much, Carolina. And maybe let's start with a little bit of a self-introduction. So, Mircea, do you want to tell us a little bit about you? And in the meantime, if you can also drop a bit of information about the accelerator that you're from.
Hello, everyone, and good to be here in touch with you. So I'm focused on the Eastern European ecosystem, more specific in Romania when it comes to accelerators and incubators. My company Activize is doing incubation services, mentoring, working with a couple of accelerators in Romania, and as well fundraising support for startups which are looking to raise. As well, we have done from our own company money around 19 investments so far in various startups in Romania and Eastern Europe.
Thank you very much. Chantal, we'd like to hear a little bit about you.
Yes, I've been business angel since 10 years in two French business angels networks, farm business angels and defense angels. Currently, I'm director of defense angels, and beside, I have business mentoring company. I accompany startups to help them to develop.
Perfect. Now, today's episode, we're talking about accelerators. So the first question, and I start again from Mircea, what are the specific resources that accelerators would offer for fintech startups in order to help them in their journey?
Yeah. Here, I believe the resources could be like 5 of them, which are very important when you start a startup in general, but applied in the fintech sector. First, it's about getting help on crafting and clearing how you want to go on the market and how the product looks like for the people, for the clients that you're looking for. So it's support with mentoring, with consultancy from the accelerators with the aim to really shape up the business model and the go-to-market strategy. Second, it's about connections in the industry. Especially for fintechs, which a good part of them need to be blending in a financial sector, which is quite complex. Connections with potential companies or experts from various companies or mentors who are able to putting information together, which can help the startup gain months or years of action, in the sense that if you speak with someone from a bank, for example, it can save 2 or 3 months of effort by just 1 hour talking with that person. And I believe this is very valuable. And third, as well, it's valid to, in this ecosystem of in the financial sector for fintech startup, it's valuable to work with companies which are already existing in the field, potentially as clients or as partners. So a fintech accelerator can bring connections from the sector towards the startups, which oftentimes they don't have the resources to pull good deals to reach higher management of big corporations or companies in the sector. So that's why here is the place where a focused accelerator can come with a lot of value.
Wonderful. And Chantal, I know that you've worked with many startups and in your, also as a business angel, but how do you see those startups that come from accelerators? What do you think is the accelerator offering to them?
I agree with Mircea. I would point out what's access to technical resources. Fintech companies need robust technological infrastructure to build secure and scalable solutions. And accelerators often provide cloud computing resources, API access to blockchain, AI, and machine learning technologies that are crucial for financial innovation. I think regulatory support is important too. Financial regulations are complex, and accelerators often provide access to legal experts who specialize in financial regulations, such as anti-money laundering laws, GDPR compliance, and KYC protocols. This helps startups ensure compliance with both local and international financial regulations, which is critical for scaling. And access to investor is crucial too.
Indeed. And I mean, it's all interesting to see, you know, the journey of a startup that goes through an accelerator. And maybe Mircea, could you share with us any notable technological breakthroughs that originated from some of the fintechs that were in accelerators?
So, along the way, I invested and worked with, still keeping in touch with 3 startups in the fintech sector, which have been participating in programs, corporate programs where we were trying to put them in touch with companies, but as well accelerators in the usual sense. One of them is LendDocs. Basically, it's a platform for lending, which is based on factoring in the sense that you can also, they can create for banks and for corporations in the field, they can help them do analysis of the lending process faster of the potential client who is gaining access to the money. And as well, this can be applied in the factoring sector, which is very low in Romania and Eastern Europe in general. Then ThinkOut, which is managing financial processes for small companies, because it's helping them keep a financial track, it's helping them create a clear prediction of the future. And then third is Thinkware, which is focused on open banking layer for banks, especially when you have multiple entities or cross-border organizations that you need to work and integrate all the working processes together. I have these 3 examples specifically, but I know in Romanian sector being quite active in the fintech, there are many more.
That's good to hear. Chantal, the next question is for you. What trends do you think will influence the development of more fintech accelerators?
Several trends are set to influence the development of fintech accelerators. First of all, RegTech, what we call RegTech, regulatory technology and compliance. As global financial regulations become more stringent and complex, RegTech is gaining prominence. And accelerators will have to specialize in RegTech, helping, for instance, startups that develop automated compliance solutions. DeFi and blockchain are essential too. Accelerators are likely to expand their blockchain resources, including technical infrastructure, mentorship from blockchain experts, and partners with DeFi platforms. AI and machine learning are transforming the financial industry, particularly in fraud detection, credit scoring, and personalized financial services. I think startups will increasingly require accelerators to provide data resources. ESG is another trend. I think accelerators will have to help startups in green fintech, offering partnerships with impact investors and aligning with sustainability goals. Increased cross-border investment is also an expansion, and the demand for open innovation is increasing too, with financial institutions seeking to collaborate with fintech startups rather than develop all solutions in-house.
Indeed, there are so many, new trends that are going to be affecting all of these. You've touched briefly on the investment side, and I wanted to ask Mircea, What role do either local, so Romanian investors, or even international ones, play both in the Romanian and in the Central Eastern Europe startup ecosystem?
Well, we need to look at the flow of investments, and we know that usually at the beginning you invest locally. You get investment as a startup from local investors, and this is an interesting. This is important because you have the trust on the local or national level, and it's easier. You have the same regulations, especially the angel networks are open to invest at pre-seed level, but as well the funds. I work well with the Angel Networks in Romania, and I'm also part of Transylvania Angels Network. So we meet with many startups every month regarding investment. And oftentimes afterwards, after we do invest in the pre-seed sector, we help them raise investment from the venture capital funds, which are focusing on startups which are a little bit more advanced, who have proven traction, and they're willing to invest more than €1 million or 1 to 5 million euros in a seed stage. And what happens in this area is we oftentimes discuss with international investors, with funds which are not from Romania, but looking to invest in Romania as well. So this is the case. I'm happy to see the trend that we don't care that much anymore about borders, but we still have to go a solid way in order to eliminate all these national limitations that we have in terms of investment and trust across the border. I would say we're in the middle of this step to be completely like in on the EU level, not to matter where you come from as a startup, and not to matter where the investor is having the fund or the financial resources incorporated in. So from this perspective, I do believe we need much more collaboration across the borders and alignment in terms of what it means investments in order to break the smaller bubbles in our countries, which happens oftentimes in Eastern Europe.
Indeed, and I'd like to stay on the cross-border investment topic here, and a question for Chantal. Chantal, what do you see as the main challenges for those fintech startups that are trying to seek cross-border investment?
First of all, compliance is challenging. There are diverse regulations. Each country has its own regulatory framework, which can vary significantly from one country to another. And startups must navigate local laws concerning financial services. Obtaining the necessary licenses to operate in foreign markets can be time-consuming and costly, leading to delays in market entry. Understanding different consumer behaviors and preferences is crucial. Fintech solutions that work in one country may not resonate in another due to cultural differences. Startups must also consider existing local competitors who have established relationships with customers and a better understanding of the market. Regarding access to investors, it can be difficult too. Investors may be hesitant to invest in startups that are unfamiliar with their local markets. Typically, business angels like to invest in startups that are located in their country to be able to support them. Economic instability can be a challenge too, and can deter investors, making it harder for startups to gain traction in those regions. The technological infrastructure is different. It can vary from one country to another, impacting the ability of a fintech startup to deploy its solutions effectively. Finding skilled talent who understand both local market and fintech technology can be challenging too, especially in less developed markets. And regarding cross-border transaction, startups must manage the risk associated with currency fluctuations and navigate different payment systems, which can complicate operations, leading to potential customer dissatisfaction.
Okay, indeed, there are a lot of issues about the cross-border collaboration, both between investors and between startups. So, Mircea, what are your thoughts? How do you see the role of such cross-border collaborations in making a better, more robust and sustainable fintech ecosystem?
I do believe it's important to eliminate the borders in European Union, and I do believe we should have one entity startup, which, from the legal standpoint, can be at the level of European Union. So not necessarily corporations in local companies, because this would speed up investment and will be beyond some regulations in some countries that we have in specifics. This is the only way to be innovating in a context that we are now globally with the US ecosystem and with the Chinese ecosystem and probably the African ecosystem as well, which is rising with a lot of impact that we'll see in the next 20 years. So the faster we eliminate the borders and the more collaboration we have in between various organizations and accelerators in different markets across Europe, I think the faster we can break some artificial limits which were created because of the geopolitics in the past and currently as well. And also in the fintech sector, maybe a smoothness of regulations in terms of financial services, as well in financial investments, because this differs from country to country. If we would manage to do this, especially in Eastern Europe, I think there will be a lot of liberalization and investment in other countries and more communication, collaboration. I would encourage as much as possible these things to happen, waiting to have effects also on the midterm. We might not see impact on the short term, and that's why I think it's a 10-year race into this process of eliminating borders in Europe, in every domain, but including fintech.
Thank you. Chantal, what do you think about this? Do you agree with
I don't
Mircea
have
that
much to add to what
Okay.
Mircea said. I just would like to point out financial inclusion. Collaborative efforts can focus on developing fintech solutions that promote financial inclusion for underserved populations. By pooling resources and expertise, cross-border partnerships can design products that meet the needs of unbanked individuals and small businesses, thereby contributing to economic growth and stability in emerging markets.
Very true. We are almost at the end of our conversation, so I have a final question for both of you. And we'd like you to give advice to startups that maybe have not yet had any access to accelerators or investment networks. What should they do? Mircea, we'll start again with you.
Okay. I do believe that it's almost impossible not to have access to accelerators and investment network because there are so many, and it's just a Google away, Google search away. So going to meetups or to conferences, contacting online the accelerators and networks, monitoring various newsletters where you see acceleration calls or investment opportunities or funding opportunities. I believe these three elements are key in order to develop a network, and in just 1 month, so it's not taking a lot of time, you can set up like 50 connections if you're just active as a founder in networking and connecting maybe 1 hour a day. Setting some short calls to get to know people, writing to investors, and even if they don't answer, not that much about that, but there will be a percentage of them who will answer and you'll be able to connect with them. LinkedIn is an amazing tool that all the startup ecosystem is using. So go there, have a nice, neat profile arranged, And this creates the impression of trust, and afterwards they accept connections easier and even taking call. And applying to accelerators, I think this is important. I remember when I had a startup 10 years ago, I was applying to around 50 accelerators and we got accepted to 2. So this is the application. It's tough because there is a competition about selecting the best startups in the acceleration programs. But the more you refine the application, the higher your chances are. And even if you don't get selected, the organizers of the accelerator will see about you, will see what you do, will read the application, and maybe they can connect you with other networks, with other accelerators, other people that can help besides the accelerator itself. Yeah.
Great advice. Chantal, over to you. Some last words of
I will say
advice.
the same. I would say to CEOs, don't stay alone. You can learn from others and feel free to talk about your project. The most you speak of a project, the more advices you can get, and it's a way to grow. Join an accelerator, find a business mentor. You can join business clubs, find events and communities that can offer support and networking opportunities. Join forums and groups who focuses on startups that can provide insights and connection. You can learn from others. You can study successful startups to understand what worked for them. Many entrepreneurs share their experiences through blogs, podcasts, and books. Learning from their challenges and successes can provide valuable insights for your own journey.
Perfect. Couldn't have said it better. And I thank you both for this very interesting conversation. And back to Carolina now.
Thank you very much, Angel, and thank you, Mircea and Chantal, for being in this episode, and also for being part of the team of experts of the Fine Ambassadors. And to our listeners, if you are interested in joining our network for investors, visit fintechnetwork.eu. On our website, you can explore for free our mapping tools on the European fintech ecosystem, with excellent leads to start identifying the main actors in 10 European countries. Also, follow us on LinkedIn, the fastest way to connect with our project and to receive the latest updates on our activities. And for more, stay tuned to this podcast series. It might be the start of your investment journey. We will meet you in the next episode.